The Miller family brunch was in full swing at their carefully curated suburban home, with the usual mix of backhanded compliments and thinly veiled disappointment. I sat at my usual spot, the wobbly chair by the kitchen door, listening to them discuss their latest house hunting adventure. The Wellington Estate is perfect, Mom gushed, spreading out photos of the historic mansion. 12 bedrooms, indoor pool, private gardens. Of course, at 30 million, it's only for serious buyers. Speaking of real estate, Dad turned to me with his trademark condescending smile. Still showing those starter homes, Rachel? I took a sip of coffee, thinking about the notification I'd received last night. My little real estate company, Phoenix Properties, had just closed its 100th luxury development deal. The same company that now owned the Wellington Estate through a discreet holding corporation. The business is going well, I replied carefully. We're expanding into new markets. New markets? My sister Jessica snorted, adjusting her designer watch. You mean those run-down neighborhoods you're trying to revitalize? How charitable. My phone buzzed, a message from Alex, my COO. Wellington Estate papers finalized. You now own their dream house. Open house scheduled for 2 p.m. today. You know, Mom said, patting my hand with fake sympathy, Jess's husband Tony could get you a real job at his development firm. Something more substantial than showing tiny houses to first-time buyers. I smiled, thinking about the past 5 years. While they thought I was struggling with small-time real estate, I'd built Phoenix Properties into a billion-dollar development empire. Our innovative approach to luxury real estate had revolutionized the market, and our sustainable design practices had changed how high-end properties were developed. Actually, I started, but Tony cut in. The open house at Wellington is this afternoon. We're finally going to see inside our future home. He smirked. Assuming the owner accepts our offer, of course. My phone buzzed again. Forbes interview confirmed. Real estate's hidden titan. How Rachel Miller built a luxury empire in secret. Also, the Wellington Estate staff is prepped for today's reveal. Your real estate dreams are pathetic. Mom laughed when I mentioned I might stop by the open house too. That's like a child dreaming of living in Disney World. Some things are just out of reach. Jessica checked her perfect manicure. Besides, it's by invitation only. They're not letting just anyone walk through a $30 million property. The family continued planning their afternoon visit to their future home, not knowing I'd already interviewed and retained most of the staff. Not knowing every detail of the renovation had been overseen by the owner they were so eager to impress. Don't be late for your little house showings, Tony called as they prepared to leave. Though I'm sure your clients can wait. It's not like they're buying anything important. As they headed for their cars, I checked my phone one last time. A message from the estate's manager. Everything ready for this afternoon, Ms. Miller. The staff is excited to finally reveal who really owns the Wellington Estate. I watched them drive away in their leased luxury cars, towards the house they've been dreaming about. The house I bought last month. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's watching people realize exactly who they've been underestimating. The Wellington Estate looked even more impressive in the afternoon sun, its limestone facade and manicured gardens making my family's luxury home look like a starter property. I watched through the security cameras as they pulled up in their cars, preening and posing for the other invited guests. The owner has exquisite taste, I heard Mom tell another couple as they entered the grand foyer. Though we'll naturally make some improvements once we move in. My phone buzzed, a message from Alex. Your net worth just hit $4.2 billion with the Shanghai development closure. Also, your family's offer on Wellington Estate was ambitious, considering their financials. I smiled, remembering the generous offer they'd submitted, barely half the property's worth, with creative financing that would have stretched their resources to the breaking point. They'd never imagined the owner might know exactly how overextended they really were. Ms. Miller, James, the estate manager, approached my private office in the East Wing. Your family is in the main salon. Mrs. Miller is already planning where to put her furniture. Perfect, I nodded, watching the security feeds. How many times has she mentioned their substantial offer? 7 so far, James smiled. Though Mr. Anderson mentioned he might offer more. I pulled up the property's true financials on my tablet, not the public listing information, but the detailed reports showing Phoenix Properties' complete ownership through various shells and holding companies. The same structure we'd used to acquire dozens of ultra-luxury properties across 3 continents. Rachel. Jessica's shocked voice carried through the feed. What are you doing here? I turned to see my sister standing in the office doorway, her perfect composure slipping. This area is private, you can't just. Actually, James interrupted smoothly, Ms. Miller has full access to the estate. Ms. Miller. Tony appeared behind Jessica. Why would some small-time realtor? My phone buzzed again. Wall Street Journal exclusive ready. Phoenix Properties reveals CEO, luxury real estate's secret billionaire. Also, your sister's husband's development firm just filed for Chapter 11. Perhaps, I said standing, we should join the others. I believe it's time for the owner to greet their guests. The main salon fell silent as I entered, followed by James and my executive team. Mom froze mid-sentence, her hand clutching her pearls. Dad's champagne glass stopped halfway to his mouth. Welcome to Wellington Estate, I announced, watching their faces. I trust you're finding everything to your satisfaction? What is the meaning of this? Mom demanded. Why is Rachel? Your daughter, James announced formally, is the owner of Wellington Estate and Phoenix Properties, and approximately 60% of the luxury real estate developments in this region. The silence was deafening. Tony's face had turned an interesting shade of pale as he undoubtedly realized whose company had just bought his failing firm's debt. This is impossible, Jessica whispered. She shows starter homes. Actually, I corrected, activating the room's hidden displays. I build them, along with some of the most exclusive properties in the world. The walls came alive with images of Phoenix developments, sustainable luxury towers in Dubai, historic estates in Europe, private islands in the Pacific. Each project worth more than my family's entire net worth. Your offer on Wellington, I continued, pulling up their submission, was interesting. Though the creative financing might have been a stretch, considering your actual financial situation. Dad stepped forward, banker's instincts kicking in. Now see here, young lady. No, you see, I cut in, displaying more data. While you were all mocking my pathetic real estate career, I was building something you couldn't even comprehend. Those run-down neighborhoods I was revitalizing, now worth billions. Those tiny houses I was showing, part of the largest sustainable development project in the country. My phone buzzed, a message that made me smile. Amir of Dubai confirming purchase of Phoenix Luxury Tower. Asking about Wellington Estate design team for his new palace. The next morning I stood in my real office, the entire top floor of Phoenix Properties headquarters, a sustainable skyscraper that made the Wellington Estate look modest. Floor-to-ceiling smart glass windows offered a perfect view of my family's luxury neighborhood, now dwarfed by my latest development projects. Ms. Miller, Alex entered, tablet in hand. The international press is assembled for the Phoenix Properties reveal. Your family is in the lobby. Apparently they've been trying to reach you since yesterday. I smiled, remembering all the family dinners where they'd made me sit at the children's table because I was just a realtor. Send them up. They entered, looking painfully out of place among the holographic displays of my global real estate empire. Gone were their condescending smirks, replaced by expressions that wavered between desperation and disbelief. Before we discuss anything, I said, activating the room's AI interface, let's look at what real luxury development actually means. Real-time data flowed across the walls. Sustainable design metrics, property valuations, global market positions. Every number told a story of innovation and vision they'd been too arrogant to see. Your development portfolio, Tony muttered, staring at the figures. It's worth more than all the major firms combined. Actually, that's just our Western Hemisphere holdings, I corrected. The Asian market is substantially larger. My phone buzzed, a message from Bill Gates. Brilliant sustainable luxury concept. Your urban development model could revolutionize cities. Dinner next week. Mom sank into a designer chair, her real estate magazines falling from trembling hands. All those properties you tried to show us were mine, I nodded. That shabby downtown project you mocked? Worth $2 billion now. The waste of time, sustainable housing development? Just won the World Architecture Prize. Even that ridiculous vertical farm building you laughed at is now the most sought-after address in the city. Alex entered again. Ms. Miller, the United Nations Sustainable Development Panel is ready for your keynote. Also, Jeff Bezos is holding on line 3 about his space colony housing project. Jessica looked up sharply. Space colony? Phoenix Properties isn't just about Earth anymore, I confirmed. Though that might be a bit advanced for developers who still think granite countertops are innovative. I pressed a button and more holograms filled the room, designs for future cities, sustainable luxury communities, revolutionary living spaces that redefined what home could mean. Your renovation plans for Wellington, I continued, pulling up their proposal, were particularly entertaining. Gold-plated fixtures? Crystal chandeliers? How? 2010. Dad stepped forward, his real estate investment experience suddenly feeling prehistoric. But the traditional luxury market is dying, I cut in. Today's ultra-wealthy want sustainable luxury, intelligent design, properties that enhance life rather than just displaying wealth. Something you might have noticed if you'd ever listened to my pathetic ideas. My phone buzzed again. Chinese government requesting consultation on entire smart city development. Budget, unlimited. Your position at the country club, Mom said quietly, your social standing, will be quite different now, I confirmed. Though I'm not interested in joining. I prefer clubs that value innovation over inheritance. The doors opened as my global design team filed in, followed by international media. The contrast between their visionary discussions and my family's outdated notions of luxury was stark. The future of luxury real estate starts today, I announced, standing. You can either adapt to a world where true luxury means sustainable innovation, not just marble floors, or you can become obsolete. Though, I smiled, I should mention that Phoenix now owns most of the properties you consider prestigious. My phone lit up one final time. The message made me laugh. Middle Eastern royalty requesting complete smart palace development. Also, your family's country club is being converted into a sustainable community center. Your sister's right, Alex said quietly to Jessica. You've been measuring luxury by outdated standards. Not outdated, I corrected. Just inadequate. Real luxury isn't about impressing the neighbors. It's about improving the world. I stood, preparing for the press conference. Oh, and about Wellington Estate? The staff has been instructed to provide you with details of available properties more within your means. Though you might want to hurry, Phoenix's entry-level homes tend to sell quickly. Dad adjusted his tie, a nervous habit from a simpler time. Rachel, we never knew. That's the problem, I replied. You never looked past your own limited vision. You never considered that true luxury might come from someone who saw beyond golden faucets and marble floors. The global press began filing in as my family tried to process their new reality. Their dream home would now become a showcase for everything they'd failed to understand about modern luxury. I took my place at the podium, catching my reflection in the smart glass. No longer the daughter they'd dismissed as a small-time realtor, but the woman who'd revolutionized luxury real estate while they were still arguing about crown molding.